Remember when I told y'all I was not going to be serving up Cynthia Erivo realness anytime soon? I was wrong. I'm bald now, snitches. Hello and welcome to Queen Things. I'm KJ Miller, founder, lecturer, content creator, and your host. And I am bald, fully bald. It is the day we didn't think would come. That's not true. It's a day that I knew would come. I just didn't think that I'd be sitting before you this way. I fully planned, as many of you know, to be wearing wigs. And I would just live my wig life. I called it my wig era. I purchased several wigs. And yet here I am on the very show where I said I would not show up bald. And that is going to be the crux of today's episode. That is what we're going to spend this time talking about. I promise I'm not about to make my entire personality being bald because I don't even really see myself existing in this space forever and ever. Amen. It's the space I'm in now, but it's enough of a change that I do think I need to talk about it somewhere. I need to talk about it somewhere. Why not here? It's my podcast. Why not here? I want to talk about it a few different ways. I want to talk about what I'm personally feeling, how I got to this decision to just be out here bald, and all of the many feelings that has brought up for me. I want to talk about it in the context of broader beauty standards and what it means for someone as a semi-public figure to make this decision, the things I'm thinking about, the things I'm scared about. I want to talk about it from that perspective. I want to bring in some outside perspectives on just beauty, feminine beauty generally, and the extent to which women are incentivized to chase beauty standards and spend tons of money and so much time and so much energy. And I understand me talking about all of that as someone who founded a beauty brand might feel a little hypocritical, but these are all thoughts that I think. So I want to approach it from those three lenses and see where we end up at the end of that. And if there's time at the end, instead of black news, I'm going to hit you with some white news. And then we're going to get up out of here. Before we jump in, let's get into some announcements. First and foremost, as I said last week, for this month's Patreon, I'm going to be reviewing Olivia Dean's album. I'm really looking forward to it. So you can join on Patreon, or you can get the bonus episodes on Apple, or you can get them on Substack. Lots of ways to do it, but that's what the bonus episode will be. I also just want to shout out some of the newest members of the Patreon. I figure this is something that maybe I'll start doing from time to time. 3 new members since I last met with you all: Alex, Kent, and Christian. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of the royal family. That's what I call our subscribers. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. If you tune in at all, whether you're paid or not, the fact that you're tuning in and engaging, I do appreciate. But again, listening to Olivia Dean reviewing her album for this month's bonus episode. Do I have any more announcements? Oh, the survey. The survey is still live. Thank you to everyone who has filled it out so far. I'm just trying to learn a little bit more about you. You know, so much about me. Fill out the survey when you get a chance. Okay, I think that's it. Let's jump in. Okay, so number 1, because you listen to the podcast, you already know the story about my alopecia, that I discovered I had alopecia areata back in August and that it's been advancing really rapidly. What you don't know is, or you may not know unless you've already listened to my little story time I did over on TikTok, how I came to the decision to be before you bald, to abandon the many, many wigs that I purchased, because I do have them and they're not bad wigs. Like, they're good enough. They're not custom. I think the highest, bestest wig you can get is like one that's custom made for you and like custom installed by a stylist who knows exactly what she's doing. I didn't do all that, but I did spend some real money on some nice human hair, quality wigs with the, transparent lace and the pre-cut, pre-plucked, pre-blah, blah, blah. If you know wig culture, you know all of these things. I'm still learning them. So I spent a good amount of money buying wigs that I'm currently not wearing. I am, in fact, bald. If you're listening and not watching on YouTube, just, picture it in your mind's eye or pop over to YouTube to get a visual. If you're like, I wonder what KJ looks like bald, pop over to YouTube real quick to get the visual. So how did we get here? And I did share a little bit about this over on TikTok, but I'll try and give a bit more detail here just because we've got time. First of all, let me say this. When I went to the hair salon on Friday to have her fully shave my head, because I wasn't going to shave my own head because I've never done that before. I feel like that could have been a disaster. I've shaved my legs, but I've never shaved my head. So I went to the hair salon, and while she was shaving it off, I was sort of surveying myself, like, what am I feeling in this moment? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling mad? I think maybe I was feeling both of those things to an extent, but I think there also was relief. Like it just has been such a long journey over these last several months, watching more and more of my hair fall out and waking up balder and balder each day, that there really was a sense of relief when it was being shaved off. Like, this is a thing I now am not going to have to think about. Like, I'm going to have to figure out what it feels like to live in the world as a bald person, but I'm not going to have to think about how bald I am. Are people looking at my bald spots? Does it look weird? And should I be trying to cover it up more? Like, I'm not going to have to do that anymore. And so there was a real sense of relief there. And I think that sense of relief that I felt in that moment was sort of the kernel that started me walking down the journey, walking down the path of potentially just being bald, because my overwhelming feeling in that moment wasn't sadness. I'm not saying I wasn't sad. I still am. It is still a sad thing to be hairless as a woman. Like there's still real grief there, but that wasn't my overwhelming feeling. So I feel like that was sort of step one of getting me on this path. Step two, I think, was when I got home, my husband was waiting for me because he knew I was going to do this. It's not like I surprised him. Surprise, I'm bald. No. I had told him before I went. He was waiting for me. As soon as I opened the door, he was there. And he just got this huge smile on his face. Huge. And was just like, I love it. I love it. You look so beautiful. And that just meant the world to me. And I think was sort of that next sort of notch in my belt that I needed to feel a bit more confident about, okay, maybe this could be a thing, you know? And I will just say, I've shared this before. He's just been so amazing through this entire journey of losing my hair. I wish all of you to find a partner or friend or just someone who loves you the way that that man loves me. I feel very grateful. So that was part two. Part three, I will say this one really, I think, went a long way in getting me on this journey. I was very scared that my daughter would be scared when she saw me. And I really always try not to cry on this goddamn show, but I'm gonna let it rip. Okay. If I cry, I cry. I was very scared that my daughter would be scared, because I've always had hair. She's never seen me with no hair. And she's 4. And that would be a perfectly valid reaction to have. It would be perfectly valid for a 4-year-old girl to see her mom with no hair and to be scared or to cry or to be freaked out or to not understand. Like, that would be very, very valid. So I wouldn't be mad at her for that. But of course, it would break my heart a little bit. So I told my husband, because he was going to go pick her up from daycare. And I told him I was scared about that. And I said, maybe you could show her a picture of me when you pick her up, just so she's not fully caught off guard. And I had told her, like, mommy's going to cut her hair. So it's going to look very different. And, when I told her that, she was excited, but still it's different between being told and seeing it. Right. So I snapped a picture of myself, sent it to my husband so he could show her. And he said her reaction when she saw it was just emphatically excited, like, oh, I love it. And they actually sent me a video of her telling me how much she loved my hair, which made me again feel so good. And then when she got home, the first thing she said to me actually didn't have anything to do with my hair, because 4-year-olds really are like, they move on to the next. Okay. She's like, well, now we've seen the hair and we've talked about the hair. She was excited to show me a card she had made. And so she saw me. Great. Love it, Mom. Let's talk about this card. Okay. It had a polar bear on it. She wanted to talk about the polar bear. And, just that quick, she moved on. And then when I picked her up, she touched my head. And she was like, I like it. It's fuzzy. And it is fuzzy because there's still little hairs growing out. Anyway, that was her reaction. And oh my God, just the best. Like, she wasn't scared. She liked it. She loved it. But also she moved on very quickly, because that's what 4-year-olds do. But it, again, was another thing on the journey to making me feel like, okay, maybe I'm not some grotesque unlovable creature now that I don't have any hair. And I know that's dramatic, but like I am dramatic, okay? And so I think those three things really sort of pushed me in the direction of feeling like maybe I could actually wear my hair out or lack thereof. And then two other things. The first is I tried on all the wigs. I've purchased at this point 6 of them. I tried on all 6 wigs and none of them were bad. Actually, one of them was kind of bad, but most of them were perfectly fine, particularly after, like, I know if I actually learned how to do all the things, they'd look much, much better. Melt the lace, pluck it properly, part it properly, adhesive it, or whatever. And I know I could learn how to do those things. I'm a quick study, okay? And I'm persistent. So I know I could learn how to do those things. And looking at the wigs, I was like, yes, I do believe this can look good. Here's the problem. As I was wearing them, I wasn't feeling good about it. And it wasn't existing in a space for me that felt fun and beautiful. It was existing in a space that felt like, oh, I have to cover myself up. And I shared this on TikTok. I just feel like I'm at an age where I'm too old to mask. If I'm going to show up as something, as someone, I've got to show up as myself. And so that doesn't mean I can't wear a wig. It just means if I'm going to wear it, it needs to exist in a space for me where makeup exists. So makeup for me exists in a space where it is a nice to have, not a must have. It's fun. I like when I do it. I like when I get dolled up. I like trying different eyeshadow colors and playing with my blush colors and my lip color. I'm doing a different lip combo today. That's all exciting, but none of it feels like something I have to do to show up anywhere. I really and truly have gotten to an age and a point and a stage where I feel I can walk into any room with or without makeup and be just as confident. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point, but that is where I am. And so therefore, makeup is fun and it is not a mask. That's where I need wigs to be if I'm going to wear them. I need them to feel like, hey, this is fun. This is a new thing that I'm doing. I'm putting on a new hairstyle today, and that's really cool and fun and exciting and flirty and whatever. Like, it's got to exist in that space for me to feel good about it. And right now, that's not the space it exists in. And so as I was trying on each wig, each one just felt so foreign and felt like, oh, this is me trying not to be me. This is me trying to figure out how to cover up something. And it just, like, mentally, emotionally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I did not wear not one of those wigs for not one single moment out of the 4 walls of my house, not even out of the 4 walls of my bedroom. It really was just like, yeah, this isn't it right now. And again, I want to be clear. I believe at some point I'm going to feel good about a wig and want to put a wig on. I think that day is coming. It's just not here yet. And I suspect I'm going to need to feel better about this. And by this, I mean not having hair before I'm going to feel good about that. And so I don't know when that day will come. It could come tomorrow. Frankly, I really don't know. I am getting better at being comfortable with being bald, but I'm not all the way there yet. I've shared this with a few friends because right now when I look in the mirror, what I think to myself is that person in the mirror actually doesn't look bad. And in fact, actually, she looks kind of nice, but that person is not me. Okay. I don't know who she is exactly, but she's kind of pulling it off. There's this real dissonance happening between like reality and what's happening mentally for me. It's hard to explain, but it's just like when I look in the mirror, I don't feel like here I am, Kristen Jones Miller, bald and beautiful. I don't feel that. I feel like there's a woman over there. She's doing her thing. But she's not me because I have hair. So I've got to get to a place where I'm not existing in two separate bodies, right? Like, it's like I've got to figure out how I reconcile that the person I'm seeing in the mirror is in fact me, and be okay with that person, fully okay with that person. And I'm getting there, but I'm not fully there yet. And I think until I'm there, I'm probably not going to be really ready to explore different wigs and things. It's like I got to work on me. You know what I mean? I got to work on me. So that's sort of how we got here, and how I'm feeling here. How I'm feeling here is I can look at myself like not objectively. Of course, I can't look at myself objectively. I can look at the person in the mirror. I can look at the videos that I've filmed. I can look at my pictures and say, I actually think that that person looks pretty good. Not fantastic, but pretty good. It's just she doesn't quite look like me yet. So I'm working on that. So I do want to talk a little bit about how I'm thinking about being bald in the context of being a public person. I am a semi-public person. I'm not a celebrity, obviously, but I am a creator. I do have videos go viral on social media few times a month. I do run beauty brands. I do public speaking engagements. We are actively pitching my book now. Like, we're out there. We have pitched, multiple publishers have confirmed receipt of the proposal. So I could be adding author to my resume, and then I could be on the back of a book jacket. Like, I'm just trying to say to you, I'm a public person. All right. So what does it mean for a woman who is a public person to cut off all her hair? I'll tell you what I immediately think of. Felicity. Do y'all remember that show? Carrie Russell was in a show in the 99s and the 2000s. I forget exactly when it was. She played a character called Felicity. And Felicity had this big, beautiful, curly hair. And I was kind of on the younger side when I think this show came out, so I never really watched it all that much, but I remember it. And importantly, I remember that a few seasons in, she cut off all her hair. Like, she went with like a real short little bob sort of thing, and it wreaked havoc. And I'm pretty sure her show got canceled a season later. Like, she cut her hair, the fans hated it, audiences hated it, and then her show got canceled. Hello? That is what I am thinking about. Like, okay, it's all good and fine and whatever for me as a person to say, like, I'm on my India Arie journey. I am not my hair. That's cool. But I'm still trying to be out here making content people want to consume. I'm still trying to sell a book. I'm still trying to sell makeup. Hello, I have a beauty brand. Like, is the whole world going to decide, oh no, we preferred you with hair, so actually we're not going to continue financially supporting you? That's a very real concern. Like, let me tell you, I'm genuinely concerned about it. The problem is, I don't know what to do about it. I can't make people like the way I look without hair, and I can't force my alopecia to go away. So I can't do anything about it. I just am worried about it. I'll tell you the other thing I think of when I think about public figures. I don't know if you all remember this, but Beyonce many years ago cut off her hair, like all of it. She cut it short. And she didn't really go out too much with her hair short like that, but she did cut it and post a picture of it. And I remember one of the comments was from a friend of mine from college, and it just was, it's so rude. I think it was because she was about to go on tour. She was like, all I know is when I show up at the tour, that weave better be on point, because ain't nobody sign up for bald-headed Beyonce. Which is very rude. But you can't say you don't understand it. Part of, if you've grown up on Beyonce, her hair flips are glorious. Like, she is the queen of hairography. Hairography, is that how you pronounce it when you do hair choreo? Like, whipping that braid all around in her hair and everything else, the 30-inch bundles. This is something we have come to appreciate Beyonce for. And so while it may have been a bit rude, she may have stated it a bit rudely, you can understand why someone might feel like, oh no, I don't want pixie cut Beyonce. I want Beyonce with the long hair. Okay. And so those are two very distinct things I think about in this moment as a semi-public figure, that, like, for some people, now obviously I'm not out here whipping my hair around like Beyonce, so I don't know why anyone would have any extreme allegiance to my hair that I kept very basic, rarely even put a curl in for y'all. I don't think anyone's going to have any extreme allegiance, but it doesn't mean that like there won't be fallout. There won't be people who are like, actually, this just makes me feel weird. Cause I do understand like we're not used to seeing women bald. And for a lot of people, it can conjure up feelings of, someone being unwell, potentially undergoing chemo. And those sorts of feelings can be hard for someone to grapple with. And so you'd rather just avoid it. You know what? Actually, looking at you sort of makes me feel sad. Right? It just triggers sad feelings for me. It makes me think of sickness and hospitals and everything else. And now I'm sad and now I don't want to think about it. So now I'm not going to watch your content and I'm not going to buy your book and I'm not going to purchase from Minted Cosmetics and I don't want to see your face on the website. And so, yeah, I spiral a bit thinking about that. As we go into pitches with publishers for my book, am I fully prepared to say, I will put a wig on for my author's photo. Don't you worry about it. Yeah, I am. Because like, I want to sell the book and I don't want a publisher to not buy the book because they're like, I don't know if I can put bald headed KJ on the back cover and sell this book. If they said that to me, I want you to know I would quickly put on a wig. Okay. I would get over every single thing I just told you that I'm dealing with. And I would throw a wig on my head because I've worked very hard on this book and I want to get it out there. So if that was the only way to do it, fine. Hopefully by that point, if they want me in a wig, I'll actually feel good about wearing wigs. It won't feel like masking and all the things I spoke about, but like I'm trying to sell the book. The point is, this is a thing that I worry about because I do know it affects how people see women in the public and people have all sorts of opinions about hair. And I guess I would say I'm semi-prepared for the fallout. However much fallout there may or may not be, just because I've at least thought about it. So it's not like I'll be like, I never in a million years thought that people might stop wanting to consume my content now that I don't have hair. I actually did think about it. So if it does happen to a certain extent, I won't be caught completely off guard. But yeah, it is something I worry about. So I've spoken about how I'm personally feeling. I've spoken about how I'm thinking about this change as a public person. I want to speak a little bit about beauty standards more broadly and where I'm sort of feeling like this change fits in for that. And I will say what brought on me wanting to talk about this a bit was I saw an article in Substack talking about Emma Stone. For those of you who haven't seen Emma Stone recently, there has been a fair amount of controversy about the fact that she has a quote unquote new face. There was a picture that came out a couple months ago. It was her sitting next to, I think, Lisa from Blackpink. We'll post a picture in the show notes just so you can see. And in this picture, her face looks, kind of new. I think new is probably the word to describe it. Her cheekbones maybe look a little higher. Her lips look a little fuller. Also, like the shape of her mouth is doing this thing that I feel like happens when you get, I don't know if it's Botox or filler or something, but I feel like I've seen a lot of women recently. If you watch Real Housewives of Potomac, Ashley Darby, her mouth is now doing this. I don't know what it is because I've never had whatever the procedure is done, but it's some procedure that almost like lifts your lip. Maybe it's a lip lift. Is that a thing? Maybe it's a lip lift, but almost feels like it lifts your lips into kind of like an ever-present, almost sort of smile. It kind of looks like maybe that has happened here. And I don't know. Other things, potentially, possibly. I don't know. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a doctor. But does her face look a bit different than what I remember her face looking like, a couple of years ago? Sure. And so this article came across my Substack timeline. The article is The Anti-Cosmetic Surgery Essay Every Woman Should Read. It's by Father Kareen. And it's very long, but I think well written. We'll post a link if you are interested. But she basically makes the case in this article, and I think it's a she. She doesn't reveal her real name, but she makes the case in this article, basically that our obsession with cosmetic surgery, elective cosmetic surgery, will be our downfall. By our, I mean women. But the fact is, we are so incentivized to do it that it makes complete sense that we're doing it. We're being pressured to do it. We're being incentivized to do it. It makes sense that we're doing it. But also, it's going to be the death of us, right? So let me read a little bit of what she says. I believe one of the biggest existential threats to modern women is the beauty industrial complex. That is the vast network of corporations that manufactures and sells us an endless slew of products, services, images, and ideologies intended to destroy our self-worth for the benefit of shareholders. Its inky tendrils have slithered into all corners of American culture and wrapped themselves around our minds and bodies. One of its strongest arms is elective cosmetic surgery, something I believe is especially corrosive to women's mental, financial, spiritual, and bodily health. So she goes on from there. It is a fairly long essay. She has like a 10-point thesis. But as I said, well written. And the reason I'm thinking about it is because I am thinking about beauty standards more broadly and where I now fit into them and what that means for me as I think about my career, as I think about what's next, as I think about what's important for me. You know, it's interesting because I've never felt any pressure to get any sort of cosmetic procedure on my face at the very least. You know, certainly I've thought about like liposuction and stuff like that, but I've never felt any pressure to get Botox, get filler, or get anything nipped or tucked up there or lifted or whatever the options are. And I think a big part of that is because I'm Black and this melanin keeps my skin fairly smooth. I don't have a lot of signs of premature aging. This is not one of those times where like I'm those people on TikTok who are like, guess my age. Don't guess. I'm 39. That's my age. You don't have to guess. And I don't care to know if you think I look older than that or younger than that or exactly that. Okay. Because you know now. You don't have to think about it. I just want to make that clear. This is not me fishing for compliments for anyone trying to, I don't care if you think I'm younger or older. What I think is that my face has never said to me, I need to go putting anything inside of it. So that is not a pressure I have felt. However, I have felt other pressures. I've been on a GLP-1 for over a year. I've lost 80 pounds in that year. And I suspect, because I've gotten a lot of nice comments since shaving my head about like how beautiful I look and how chic I look and how my head is the perfect shape. It's not. But I think a lot of people think that because I'm slimmer now. My face is a lot slimmer now than it used to be. And I think people probably wouldn't feel the same way if my face weren't slimmer, if my face were the size it were 18 months ago. And so that's the thing I'm aware of. And now I'm like, okay, I've always felt nervous that I'm going to gain the weight back. But now I'm even more nervous because I'm like, oh, you only get to be bald if you're skinny? I don't like that. So I'm worried about that. So that is a real pressure that I have felt and a procedure that I guess you could say I've undergone. It's not a procedure, but like it is, you know, a medication that I've been on. And so what does it mean to be a woman who never wants to perpetuate this idea that you have to constantly be doing things to yourself, injecting things into yourself, stretching them, pulling them, chopping them off, putting them on, in order to be beautiful? Or even a woman who perpetuates this idea that like beauty is the end all be all of anything. Like you've got to be beautiful to show up. That's not a message I want to be perpetuating. It is one that is forced down our throats all of the time. But I also can't escape it. Right? I can't escape that the world we live in is one that does value beauty, particularly women's beauty. Like, I can't escape the fact that that's the world that we live in. And so, can I participate without perpetuating it? I think probably the answer is no. Like I think if you participate at all, you are responsible for perpetuating those ideas. And so then what do I do with that? Do I just accept it? Yeah, okay, yeah, I am a part of the problem. And do I just go on about my day? Has me cutting off my hair helped in some ways to disrupt the narrative of, you know, conforming to beauty standards? Has it? I don't know. Maybe. I cut off all my hair, but I've still got a full face of makeup on. I'm still wearing my nails and my earrings. I'm still attempting to show up at least somewhat fashionably. So does it? Does it not? I don't know. These are thoughts sometimes when I'm alone in my room, I think about. And so I'm sharing them here with you. Mostly because I'd love to know your thoughts. Y'all love to hop in the comments. Hop in the comments. Let me know what you think, because it is just when I see these articles, about specific people, it's not really about Emma Stone specifically, right? I think this person uses Emma Stone as a jump off point to say, we're seeing so many people elect to get these surgeries that are essentially conforming us all to the same face shape, body shape, hair shape, everything, that we are very much losing ourselves and our individuality in the process. And so have I now made a choice that helps to disrupt that narrative of conforming, and helps to reaffirm individuality? Maybe I have. But then I'm also on a GLP-1, and I'm also trying to stay somewhat slim, and I don't know. So that very much reaffirms the narrative that there is a specific beauty standard and that we all need to shape to. Which is all to say, I haven't got any of it figured out. I guess that's my thesis. I haven't got any of it figured out, and I don't want to give the impression that I do, because I don't. But I do like talking about these things, and I do like engaging on these topics, and I would love for any and all of you to engage with me, because I want to hear what you think. Well, that is that. I have now spent well over half an hour talking primarily about myself. More than enough. I did want to give you guys just the very real, very honest, very raw thoughts that I'm currently having about this, because it is a pretty big life change for me. But now let's talk about something else and someone else, most specifically white people. Hello, pew, pew, pew. It's white news time. This is not going to become a recurring segment. However, I did have a video go pretty mega viral on Instagram. It has over 1 million views on Instagram, where I said, are y'all ready for some white people news? And the white people news was, we'll link it just so you guys can see. There was a lady who came across my For You page talking about she was dating some man. This is a white lady, so I assume the man was white too. Dating some man, found out he didn't believe in soap. Like, he showered without soap. Specifically told her, I use hot water, and as long as you're using hot water, you don't need to use soap. I really want it known. I want it spread far and wide. Hot water does not kill germs. Boiling water kills germs, and you can't bathe with boiling water. You would absolutely get third degree burns. So, sir, you are splashing and spreading the germs around. That's all you're doing. I would like that news spread far and wide in the white community. Okay. I would like you to tell your brothers and your sisters, your aunties and your uncles, soap kills germs. We have known this now for far too long for us to start second guessing. I know y'all got RFK Jr. and them up here telling you everything but the truth, but I am happy to tell you the truth. Soap kills germs. Go on and use it. Go on and use it. Tell a friend, tell many friends, okay? Because not only is she embarrassing y'all by continuing to date a man. Eventually, I think she did break it off, but it took a long time, okay? She was dating this soap-free man for a long time, and that's embarrassing. But also, I'm looking at these comments that people are leaving. It seems a number of you are running into people not using soap, which means there are too many amongst you, okay? Too many amongst you. This is something I desperately want the white community to fix. Fix it, okay? It starts with you, okay? I just checked. It's at 1.7 million views on Instagram. This is outrageous. And I'm telling you, it's because it's so many people in the comments who are like, oh yeah, my ex-boyfriend, he didn't use soap either. What are we talking about? This can't be my first PSA of 2026. Use soap? That's my first PSA of 2026. Soap? White people. Shout out to one of the most liked comments. This is from Julian Nichols. It has 31,000 likes. She says, going back to a soapless man is crazy work. Yes, Julia, it is. It absolutely is diabolical. How? Hello? I'm trying to find the comment. I'm not going to be able to. There are too many comments. Someone commented talking about Yeah, my sister had to break up with like 6 or 7 boyfriends after finding out they didn't use soap. What do you mean 6 or 7 boyfriends didn't use soap? How is this such an epidemic in the white community? We have to get to the bottom of it. We have to get to the bottom of it. When I tell you, it doesn't matter how poor a Black person is, okay? And I've met plenty of poor Black people. We're going to use soap. This is a thing that will always and forever be in our households. And I need y'all, and by y'all, I do mean white people. I need y'all to gather your people, gather them up, just get them together, okay? In a huddle, and just spread the news. Soap is not optional. Soap is a must. Buy yourself some soap, okay? Write it down, put it on a carrier pigeon, send it out into the world. We have to stop this. We simply must. And that is it for this week. I know it was a shorter episode. I know there were some tears. It got a little heavy at times. I feel like we ended on a fun note. You now know even more about me. So I, again, would like to know about you. Don't forget to fill out the survey. Don't forget to join the Patreon so you can hear this good review. Hopefully it's a good review. I don't know. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm very excited for it. And I'll see you next time.